just ignore it. We'll get everything taken care of. My main man Dean is not here as we go live here. He'll be joining us a little bit later. But I mean, there's some Kevin Durant trade talk, Kyrie Irving, boring. There's some baseball stuff. I'm incompetent in that area, so I'm not talking about that. I want to talk about me. First of all, we've been out for quite some time. Well, I have for over a month. I know you guys miss me because I miss y'all, right? Right? I need y'all get in the comments. We got some cool guests here. Share us out. All of the things. I'm really just filibustering for my guy here. Not sure what he's doing. But here's what I want to talk about. So I am a handsome young devil by many accounts, right? Producer? No? Okay. So, but basically, I feel like I'm a pretty good looking dude. But there's always room for improvement, or so I'm told. I'm a bit fluffy, and I don't mind until it stops me from being able to do some things that I want to do. Like, I don't know, let's say walk upstairs without breathing hard, right? But I still want to have a donut and a hamburger. And then I stumbled across through my wonderful coworker a lovely, lovely show that told me it's okay to have a donut now and then. Eat a cheeseburger, which we're gonna ask about that daggone cheeseburger balloon. It was fantastic. But anyway, welcome back to Let's Talk with Gales and Dean. We'll do the actual intro stuff, blah blah blah. But I just wanted to talk to you guys by myself for a little bit before Dean gets on, because you know how Dean is. We got Dean's two replacement hopefuls. Fingers crossed. I'm just kidding. But I do need you guys to, be very good tonight. Let's really lift these guys up. They know what they're talking about. They're very good. And blah, blah, blah. Let's start the show. All right, welcome back to Let's Talk with Gales and Dean. I'm your host, Gales, and usually to my left will be the wonderful, incorrigible, but always energetic Sydney Dean, but he is running a little bit behind. We got some footballing. You gotta love that football, man. That gummit. Do we have to love football here in America? But I don't want you guys to worry because I can't. I know I started rambling and just going on and on and on about all types of subjects, but I have someone to save you from me tonight. I am welcoming to the show for the first time ever from the wonderful Bearded Barbell podcast, Coach Willie and Coach Tony. Hey, how you doing, fellas?
What's going on, D?
How you doing?
Gales. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Hey, man, look, I've got the wrong name down there anyway.
I was manifesting the co-host to try to get him here a little earlier.
Oh, man, look, don't say his name 3 times because he will appear. But yeah, man, go ahead and introduce yourselves to our little crowd here.
Hey guys, I'm Coach Willie, part of the tag team here of the Bearded Barbell podcast.
I'm Coach Tony. I'm the other half of the Bearded Barbell podcast. These are the two voices you hear drop every Monday. If you are subscribed to our podcast, which hopefully by the end of this show, you are.
Yeah, we give you guys plenty of good tips, man. We try to hook you up for free, everything that you need to just kind of get started.
Yeah, man. Look, first of all, can we talk about these magnificent beards? I've been growing this thing for
this is the intro
36 years. Yeah, 36 years I've been growing this thing, and this is as far as it gets, right? Let me move this mic. That's it. That's it. It's just scrawny. What is your secret? Tell me about your beard care. And wait, and then I also need to know if your respective partners like the beard or don't like the beard.
So mine is bacon grease, a little bit of donut powder. No, actually, what you see right here is just pure fitness wisdom. Just taking years of just, of the tutelage and all that.
Yeah, like you ever watch, Harry Potter, you see Dumbledore, he's got that long beard because he just knows everything magic. The more we learn about lifting, the more we learn about nutrition, the longer our beards get. So
it's just science, really. Us, we talk about science. So
Right. So this is one of my buddies talking about. Yeah, I remember you was the last one to grow one. I'm still trying to grow one, Mr. Bill. Thanks for joining the show, man. But yeah,
Freddie
so
calling you
look,
out.
first of all, the bacon grease and that. Come on, man, that can't be true. I've been doing that for too long not to see results. Yeah.
Maybe it's not enough. I'm just saying. Nah, mine actually, I've just always been quite lucky. I've had my beard for about since last time I saw my face was probably about 2015. I had shaved probably about what you have going on there.
Hey,
To
easy on that.
hey,
The
no,
tones all
that's
wrong. Hey,
professional.
Miss Phil,
No,
y'all.
see, but see, no, I shaved down to be professional, get a job. That was the last time I did it. It was a city job. I had to get it. So I shaved down, and that was the last time I saw my face. I was actually 80 pounds heavier than I am now. So I don't know what I look like under this. I'm kind of scared to find out.
No, man,
Yeah,
don't find out.
I used to always keep it gone. It was always gone. And then really, I think it was about the end of 2020. No, the end of 2021. No, I was right the first time. End of 2020. I always had this regimen of like every 2 weeks I'm gonna just trim it just to kind of keep it clean. And then at one point I just got real busy and it became 4 weeks and then 5 weeks and then it just became, well, now let's see how long it goes. So really since then I've just been letting it go. So we're coming up on the 2-year mark to see just how long it goes.
I think that was mine, as I just kind of got tired of shaving.
Yeah. I was like, let me just keep the hair clean, keep it orderly, and I'll be fine. Everything else will just handle itself.
One of our commenters saying, "How do you keep the flies out?" Yeah, and I am so sorry. Hello out there, Twitter world, Twitch world, YouTube, and Facebook. And
we're everywhere.
We are.
Yeah. We bounce around to yeah, man. I'm talking here with the bearded Barbell podcasters, Coach Tony and Coach Will. Now, look, your show, how did you even get the idea to start something like that? What were you guys doing before that made you want to say, you know what, we should do a podcast?
So, Coach Willie and I have been friends for actually a long time. We became friends because of wrestling. He loves wrestling. I love wrestling. I am a wrestler. He trained to be a wrestler for a while. And we've always lived close to each other. So he's always been at shows that I've been on here in Albuquerque. And we've always just kind of kept in contact back and forth. Recently, I decided to go full-time into nutrition, into fitness. Recently, Coach Willie did the same thing. He got his certification. And I think it was just one day I messaged you and I was like, and you said that we're meant to do something together. And I just fired back because I'd already been thinking about it. And I was like, let's start a podcast. And that was 16 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, because I knew, like, the stuff that we were sharing on our social media, the kind of outlook that we had on fitness, not even just like within the past few months of us being professionally involved in it, but really just our, like, the evolution that we saw. We kind of, I don't know if you heard on one of our episodes, but he came from one side of the spectrum. I came from the other. I came from a bigger boy. He came from a smaller guy. And we just kind of met in the middle. And we kind of both saw that evolution in each other. And we saw that we had the same mindset. So it kind of clicked. So we figured we were on to something here. And that's why when I messaged this guy, and I think you actually said, how about a podcast?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, what's funny is I knew we were going to collaborate on something. I just could not put my finger on it. And then he just said, the Bearded Barbell podcast, let's go with it.
Yeah. And then we picked a day to record and we picked a time and we met up and we've been recording every week since.
I love it. So I'm a Spotifyer, so I like listening on Spotify. So I'm gonna give it to people on Spotify. But man, let me tell you. So I was literally I think Coach Davis talking about kind of like I was kind of like down and like what to do, and I was like, oh my goodness, that sounds like me. Like it's one of those things. Like I feel like if I just focus on any one thing, I could possibly be pretty good at it. But like. Just that, jack of all trades, right? Master of none, like it's really in us. How did you get to, wanting to take, I guess, wrestling and then working out seriously and then roll that into trying to help people for free with your podcast?
So for me, the secret was like you, right? Like you have all these things you want to do. The secret was I got to find out about that genius idea in a minute, Freddie. Hold on to that
Right,
thought.
right.
But the secret for me was I picked things that just took a lot of time and a lot of energy, so that I didn't have time to really do anything else. So, when I chose wrestling and I chose fitness, and now I'm choosing to roll fitness into a business model. So now I'm doing so much with that, and I'm focusing all my energy on ideas for that, for guides to come up to give out to people, and videos to make, and workouts, and nutrition things, and all those sorts of things take a lot of creative energy for me to and then figure out how to execute. So at the end of the day, I'm so satisfied by what I accomplished within those few realms that I don't really even care about anything else at that point. I'm like on that level, where I don't want to try to accomplish anything else, because I've already got some stuff under my belt that I've done, and I'm happy with what came out and how it's being received by people.
Yeah, man. And then you, like Coach Willie. So, were you in the fitness world before too, or is this something that he brought you into?
No, off and on. I had got into it at a young age, and then due to some bad life choices, I had gotten kind of out. I was doing what I thought was like powerlifting, but it was just really unhealthy eating and just bad form lifting. Then I later on, when I did go through my own journey, I focused in, went through the cut the fat, what I like to call, and just simplified a program for myself, and then went from there. I picked up. I like to say I was like the typical dieter. I picked up my knowledge just from the internet, magazines. I was just kind of trying this, trying that, and everything. Nothing ever really stuck. And so one day I just put it all together, looked at it like he said, what can I spend my energy on, and I kind of just got more of a cleared out path, and like I said, our evolution kind of came to, like, we kind of just watched each other kind of grow. I saw him on a lifting board back at was it Westside Barbell?
Westside Power Gym. Yep,
yeah,
up in Rio Rancho.
Yeah, so I saw his name up on the powerlifting board there. So like I knew him as a wrestler. I knew him, so yeah. So I mean, I think it just kind of grew, and like we just kind of, it was just kind of something bound to happen,
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Now, which one of y'all, like, okay, so do you two take turns motivating one the other, or is one of you like the go-getter guy and the other's like, I mean, I guess, like, I mean, in all things, like whether it's the fitness training in the gym or the podcast, like, what are your roles in this enterprise?
I like to say he's like the brain, and I'm like Pinky. Remember that old cartoon from Tiny Toons?
Pinky
and the Brain.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are we doing today? And he just tells me, well, we're doing a podcast, Pinky. And I'm like, let's do it.
All right.
And no, but I mean, I like to say, that's kind of like the role. Like I'm a little bit goofy in the way I deliver stuff, and I kind of have I'm kind of cookie driven. If you listen to the podcast, I kind of have my eyes focused on food a lot of the times. So I'm kind of the bad habit motivator, I guess. I'm the one that sets the bad example, and Tony's the one that makes the bad example out of me and explains why you don't do that.
Really, I just say why it's okay to do it anyway.
Yes, and that's one of my favorite things about the show, because I feel like I was at work, and of course, Coach Davis's partner there was one of my two bosses. And, I was kind of beating myself up like, nah, I'm doing this fast thing, so whatever. She was like, no, it's okay. And she was like, what episode are you on? And I was like, I'm like, I think it was like 2 or 3 at the time. She was like, yeah, keep listening. And I understood what she was saying in a later episode when you were like, hey, man, you can have a donut. And like even your post, I think on Facebook, it was like, hey, did you know it was National Donut Day? I'm like, this is my kind of thing right here, man. Yeah, but go ahead and click that link. Please follow them, like them, share them.
Yes,
they are great.
Yep.
So as you talk about the importance of having that balance of being okay, right, with you make sure you're working out. Don't burn yourself out. And also, hey, you can snack here and there too. So talk a little bit about that.
So, if you listen to some of the episodes of the podcast, we talk about, how you look at things like cookies and donuts, and really the only thing they're here to do is to just taste good for us. And, there's so many people out here that try to repay that favor by saying that they're terrible, that they're awful, we shouldn't eat them. And, all the stuff that we've been hearing about donuts and cookies and cake and ice cream pretty much since they've been around, right? And there's there's like a tiny hair of truth in that, but it just gets, and this is not just related to that, there's also like an exercise based equivalent, but there's like a tiny sliver of science that's in something, and then it just gets blown up into this huge thing where now we're supposed to be afraid of this thing for whatever reason. And it's not that bad. It's not like, we're not, unless you're lactose intolerant, which if lactose intolerant people, for the most part, they don't care that they're lactose intolerant. They're still going to line up for pizza. They're still having ice cream. They don't care. What it really comes down to is you can have a donut. If you're Coach Willie, you can have all the cookies you want. You have to look at it in the grand scheme of things, right? So you're going to have a donut. Cool. Are you always having donuts? Is this your 8th donut of the day? Like, how's your exercise looking? How are you feeling about your energy? How well is your mind working? How well are you getting through the day? How's your sleep? All that sort of stuff, right? Those are all things that play into how well donuts work for you. So to get a little sciencey, that's kind of my role, right? Like, I'm the science guy on the podcast. So to get a little sciencey, I'm going to try not to go super, super, super deep, right? When, people say, instead of having a donut, have an orange or have an apple, have fruit, right? Have something that's more natural. There's a reason for that suggestion, but that reason by no means should inform us never to have a donut. So when you look at a donut, it's delicious, has calories, usually not much more than that piece of fruit that people say to substitute it with. The difference between a donut and an orange comes hours later when we have that sugar crash, and we all know that sugar crash, right? Or, when we have that 3 o'clock slump in the afternoon, when, you get cranky because it's been an hour, it's been 2 hours since you had that donut, and I need more food. And I have those food cravings for more. So you reach to another donut if they're available, or you reach to whatever you can get your hands onto, right? And that essentially happens because of that massive blood spike, the blood sugar spike that we get from the donut, followed by the crash. That crash is where all those cravings happen. That's where all that crankiness happens. That's where all that stuff happens.
Bad decisions.
Right. That's where we make bad decisions, because we're trying to make decisions quickly, right? We're like, our brains are still 10,000 years ago before civilization. They haven't caught up to the fact that we live in civilizations where we can walk across the street or down to the store and get food anytime we want. They haven't caught up to that fact yet. They still think if we don't have food now, we might starve, we're going to die. So we need food ASAP. So you have that curve from the donut, right? You have the donut, your blood sugar spikes up, and as fast as it spikes up, it then comes right back down and crashes. When you have something that's, more natural, is what people will say, right? Like apples, oranges, bananas, veggies, anything like that, you'll have a much slower spike, and you'll end up having a lower spike. But because that spike is lower and it took longer, it's a more gradual drop. So you tend to avoid that low craving territory, right? And so it's situations like that lend to maybe having an orange or having some fruit instead of a donut. But that's not the whole picture, right? When we want to complete the picture, I've actually got a story about this. So I've got a Facebook group, and recently I made a post. It showed, you mentioned Doctor Strange, like you just seen it, so you'll actually get this.
Yeah.
So the 3-panel meme sort of thing. It was off that Wanda scene talking about how it's not fair when she does something, but it's fair when Strange does it.
Oh, so yes, I see where this is going.
Yeah. So the first panel, it listed red meat, it listed bread, it listed tomatoes and lettuce. And, the argument was, when you have those in that state, it's a healthy meal. But all of a sudden, when you put them together and now you have a burger, now all of a sudden it's unhealthy. It's same ingredients, but it's unhealthy, right? So I put that up in the group, and I had this gentleman comment, and he started talking about the white flour in the bun and all that, right? Which is kind of the same
Right.
idea as the donut, right? Like white flour has a lot of calories and it can cause blood sugar spikes. Really, it's, obviously it's at the base of a donut too. And he started off by talking about, how many calories are in a cup of white flour. And I was like, okay, cool, you're not wrong, but also nobody's out there having cups of white flour by themselves. So like, is what you're saying true? It is, but is it really useful? Not necessarily useful, unless again, people are out there just like dry scooping cups of white flour and nothing else.
Right, it's not applicable because it's like
it's not a real world scenario.
Yeah.
When the reality is, when you take something like white bread or you take something like a donut, if you have it with something else, it changes how that blood sugar spike happens. So, you take a donut, if you have it with something like a Greek yogurt, basically something to add protein to that snack, to that meal, right? Well, now just by adding protein, that actually slows down that blood sugar increase, and it levels off where that spike happens, and it prevents that crash. So this is one of the things I like talking about with my clients and with anybody that asks when they talk about food. I don't really go the restrict route. I don't say don't have this, don't have that. Because if anybody listening, if anybody's ever been down that road and somebody says don't have cake, what's the very next thought that you have in your mind? I need all the cake.
Oh, cake.
That's all I want.
Yeah. It's like saying don't look down, right?
Exactly. The first thing you're going to do is look down. So what I do is I just go, okay, cool. Like if you want cake, what can we add to the cake to make it, what I term a complete meal? And that basically just means we're adding carbs, we're going to add fat, we're going to add protein to it. Protein is the key because protein is basically what helps you feel full longer. It's what slows down that sugar absorption. It's what slows down and it can prevent that crash a few hours later. And it keeps you from having those cravings in a couple hours where now you feel like you just need to eat whatever you can grab that's in arm's reach.
Oh, see, that's my problem. Eating too much of the bad thing at the wrong times. Right before bed, late at night when no one's looking at me. You know what I mean? I'm very low character. Like a lot of people, say, "Oh, you're such a nice guy." Like, no, I'm a very low character person. I need people watching me at all times. So when my kids, my 4 beautiful children, go to sleep and my wife is asleep, those are some of the hardest moments for me when I'm awake because it's like, well, everybody's asleep. So what's there to do? Let me just go get a snack. And then sometimes I come back with a smorgasbord. I mean, like a tray full of stuff that wakes my wife up. I was like, what are you doing? Like, she looks at me like I just murdered someone. I'm like, look, I'm sorry I had a long day. Leave me alone. Right?
Can I blow your mind for a minute?
Oh, please.
So I know you mentioned before that you were, I don't know if you still are, but you mentioned before that you were fasting, right? So what if I told you that when you fast, it typically helps us because we end up eating less calories because we have a time period where we don't eat, right? But what if I told you that the way the body responds to that downstream is when we are eating, now the body reacts by saying, cool, now I need to eat everything. And the way to actually prevent the body from going down that road, if I want to eat everything, is to eat regularly sized meals throughout every day.
Yeah, see, I'm like that. That's why I'm like, I'm like the devil's advocate on the Bearded Barbell because I'm the one that goes and I'm like, my biggest thing is a PB&J before bed. It's that thing is calorie loaded, but man, that is one of my bad like go-tos. And so I have the problem with snacking. And I notice that when I have the nighttime, the midnight snacks, the cookies, the overeating, because that's my thing is I crave sugar. I crave those fat loaded, really those Little Debbie snacks, all them. Middle of the night, I'll like you said, the smorgasbord. It looks like it looks like I'm selling stuff because I got the Little Debbie's, I got the peanut butter, I got the Lay's bag, I got
a convenience store, right?
Yeah, I got them Ritz crackers with the peanut butter on it because I have to have peanut butter. I eat my Oreos with peanut butter. I mean, so see, that's why I have to know my control. Like I take what the knowledge we know and I have to apply it because I have the same habits that pretty much everyone has. And that's why I feel I could connect with more of an audience on that sense. Cause as far as for me, like fitness for me, everyone says, well, you love eating healthy and stuff. It's like, nah, I'm right there with the bowl of cereal at midnight, but I have to take into the aware effects of all of that. So whenever I plan myself, I do have the meal, I do have, the nighttime snacks, but now I'm having more like spread out, like Coach was saying. Now that I have my more spread out snacks, I'm not feeling like I have to just gain all a day's worth of calories in one sitting, because this can subconsciously happen. You cannot even be thinking through this. Like you said that you knew what happens. You're like your kids, your wife goes to bed. That's when you go to town. You know the problem, but like subconsciously there's something else happening there too. And that's, I think, what we preach on the show is a lot like of just having that aware, okay, this is what I do and this is how I do it and this is why it's happening. Now I have the scientific background behind it. Now it's not just me, it's not just my bad habit, it's not just me having to slap myself on the wrist. It's some minor adjustments that I have to make. And he mentioned that, when you first take on a client or you first start talking to somebody about nutrition, we don't start talking about you can't have this, you can't have that. It's always the client that first starts telling me, I can't have soda, right? Well, yeah, sure. Definitely take out soda. But, they're the ones that start kind of going down the list. And it's like, wait, let me stop you there. Let's start from the basis. Let's see, let's start out small. Let's not change your diet. Let's not change your life in one night. Because when you wake up tomorrow, it's just going to be impossible to do 6 months from now. We want sustainability. If you're having that donut, it's not necessarily going to throw away 2 weeks of hard work just having that one donut. But not having that one donut might make you resentful, might make you, really just pass it towards the whole diet. And then you just start tapering off slowly by slowly. And, 6 months later, you're back to the smorgasbord in the middle of the night. And, that one donut that you were so remorseful for, you could have had it. It's still been exercising, still doing more than what you doing from completely stopping and moving forward. We always talk about there's like this all or nothing mentality. And I think that comes from the media. It comes from what Coach had mentioned in the beginning was we hear these stigmas based around certain diets, certain foods. The South Beach diet was one from, I think that was 90s.
Yeah, I think so.
90s, early 2000s. South Beach diet. That was the first time in Atkins, the Zone. That was the first time people were introduced to cutting carbs. Why were we introduced to cutting carbs? And it's because it's a marketing scheme. It's easier to sell a quick thing. Like, you want to lose weight. Bam. If I have somebody go into a huge calorie deficit just by cutting out one macro, they're going to lose weight in 2 weeks. They're going to applaud this program. They're going to go back to their bad ways, but they're going to tell their friends that they lost 15 pounds doing this program. Millions of people are going to buy this book. Millions of people are going to buy onto this program. Of course, you're going to lose weight because you're in a conscious diet. That's what we're preaching is when you're in a conscious diet of any sort, you're going to see results because you're making efforts towards a goal. Progress is progress. And that's what, there's an episode where we talk about rewarding, certain progresses rather than just looking at the scale. And I think we get rid of that stigma of, okay, lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks, lose 30 pounds in 6 months. No, be healthy for the rest of your life. It's hard to sell that. But I mean, when you start getting older or you see, older family members, there's a story or commercial or meme, I forget what it is, but we always talk about that was shared on social media of an older gentleman.
Video.
The video of the older gentleman. He's sitting there picking up a kettlebell. At first, he struggles to pick it up. He gets a little better and better, but they don't really tell you the story. At the end of the video, he's lifting up a small child to put a star on the Christmas tree. That's what it's about. That's what we're trying to preach here. If you start putting that in the back of your head, if you stop looking like, okay, I'm fat, I'm overweight, I'm what society doesn't want me to be, you're gonna put this mindset in your head where you're constantly beating yourself up to this diet, and you're not gonna like it. You're just not gonna agree with it. Like, who would? I mean, you'd have to be not right in the head, and you'd have to go through another type of, self work for if you did like that, because I just don't see that being healthy. We want to preach a healthy approach to it.
Yeah.
And that really, episode you were talking about, I love how you kind of pointed out, hey, did you lose any inches, right? Were you able to walk upstairs without breathing hard, right?
Yeah. How's your sleep? How's your energy? Are you still cranky in the middle of the day? All that stuff.
Yeah, and I'm gonna ask you guys some questions about because the last episode, I believe one of you were talking about, adding red meat. But before we do that, we have to welcome my wonderful, wonderful co-host, Mr. Dean, as he has titled himself. What's up, Mr. Dean? How was
going on, Mr. Dean?
Man, practice was good. I apologize, bearded barbell guys. I got here as soon as I could. My laptop was tripping. I tried to stay calm, as my compadre, Mr. Gales, tell me. He know how I get. I get pretty pissed when it's doing that. But I had to stay calm. I had to stay calm, and I had to meditate so I could get on and talk to you guys, because I'm glad y'all over here. But my apologies again for being late, fellas.
I have not got to sit down with this guy and talk for a month, but give him the frap out of here, producer. What the frap? He has never in his life meditated on anything except, we ain't going to say, but get him the frap out of here. I mean, let him back on because he don't know how to work this thing. But come on, man.
He been gone for a month.
Wait. You meditated?
Ain't that something?
Wait. Yes or no, Senator? You meditated?
Yeah, man.
Get him out here, man. Anyway, you guys introduced red meat into, which one was it? Was it Coach Davis or Coach Willie?
It was probably me. Actually, I think it was me. Yeah,
I think it was.
I remember talking about older studies around red meat and how unhealthy it's supposed to be for us. And really, the point that I was making with red meat was, we were talking about studies, and at that point, in that particular context, we were talking about how there are a lot of problems with that information, with those studies that were done back, 60s, 70s, 80s, when they were first telling us that red meat was bad for us, red meat's going to kill us, it's clogging our arteries, all this other stuff. They made that correlation between people that ate red meat and people that had cardiovascular issues, people that had health issues, people that were overweight. So the correlation was there, but what they didn't tease out and what they didn't mention was that people that tended to eat red meat back then also smoked. They also drank. They also typically generally had a less than healthy lifestyle. So you can't necessarily pin it on red meat when there are all these other things that are on the table as well that may contribute, may not contribute, but there are also things that didn't get teased out to see what the actual issue was. But, if you're running a study and you're trying to just make something the bad guy, and you say, cool, I found this correlation between what we're trying to find and red meat, well, we can pin red meat as the enemy and just leave everything else alone. And now all of a sudden, people are avoiding red meat. Everybody wants chicken. Everybody wants, fish. Everybody wants tofu. Everything that's not red meat. When the complete upside down of it is red meat's one of the healthiest things we can eat. Again, this is if your body can handle it, because some people can't necessarily digest it properly. So that's obviously a different scenario for them. But if you can handle red meat, there's tons of vitamins in there. There's iron, there's creatine, there's all these other things that exist in red meat that really doesn't happen, and it's not found in a lot of other food sources, and is almost not found at all in a plant-based diet. So, a lot of times when we see people that are on a vegetarian or even more so on a vegan diet, they ever think of meat as eating death? No, not necessarily.
Jeez. What was that?
Home run there.
We got
I prefer for it to be dead.
Yeah.
Only Bell would put something like that in the daggum chat. We love you, Bell.
We look at people that are trying their hands at like a vegan diet, and obviously they're doing it for health reasons a lot of times, right? So they're trying to improve their health, so they cut out everything that's animal based, and they just focus on plants and all that. Which it sounds great. It sounds like it would work. And typically for weight loss, it works because, like Coach Willie alluded to a few minutes ago, you're dropping calories. So, diets are like cars. Cars are all going to get you to the same place. It just depends which one you want to drive that day. When you go on that vegan diet, you have your plant-based everything. Well, now you're cutting out a lot of vitamins and stuff that typically only get found in meat. You look at, an egg. Eggs have cholesterol. They have a host of B vitamins. They also have protein. They've got iron, and a lot of those things aren't necessarily that easy to come by on a vegan diet. That's why usually if you're doing a vegan diet, you've also got to supplement with those missing vitamins just to fill those holes in your diet.
Now I caught some of what y'all were talking about when I was in backstage. I think y'all were talking about like the junk food. Me myself, I work out like 5 days a week, trying to get my buddy up there to do it, but that we don't know if that's ever going to happen. But anyway, so I work out 5 days a week, but I also play basketball 3 times a week, and I burn playing basketball in a night. I know I burn anywhere from 12 to 2,000 calories. All right, because I play in the the sweated vest that you zip up. That I forgot the name of, but I play in that because back in May I was 230. I think I was 230, and I really couldn't move up and down the court the way I wanted to. I was still moving, but I'm like, man, I can't move like I wanted to because I was bulky. So I had talked to Gales about, I said I'm cutting out the junk food, going down to 1 cold drink a day, a lot of water, up my cardio. But some things I do on nights that when we done played about 10 games and I know I done burned all those calories is I go to the store and get a donut and eat. And guys ask me like, how you do that and still stay looking like it? Well, after playing so many games and your body is burning so much, maybe 10 to 30 minutes after you play, your body's still burning. So when I'm eating that junk at that late at night, because it'd be about 11 o'clock, I ain't even gonna lie, it's eating it up. So it don't really just sit on me. So when I wake up the next day, just say if I was just sitting at the house and I decided to eat 2 donuts just sitting here after I hadn't did nothing, that'll sit on me the next day and I'll be sluggish that next day because there's sweets and stuff sit on me. Mm-hmm. But if you do it right after you did a workout like that, I feel that it's eating it up and it's breaking down. So I wake up the next morning, I'm still energized. I don't feel sluggish compared to just sitting around eating all that stuff and you're not active. Am I right? Am I right by saying? Do y'all agree?
Wait, hang on. Before y'all answer that, get him off the screen. Get him the crap out of here. This is the most energetic person you'll ever meet in your life. I don't care what he eats or what he does. He can be as fat as I am. I don't think he would ever lose energy. So sorry. So we got 2 rules on this show. One, when he lies, he gets kicked off.
Okay, all right.
If he curses, he's done so well. So well. Right. The man, the legend, the myth. I give you the Dean. So we have a saying on here where he pays a fine when he curses and he gets booted off when he says something a little bit ridiculous.
Well, first of all, I didn't never say I was low on energy. Did I say that once? No. Some people, if you eat that next day, you can feel sluggish. I don't care how much energy I got, but if you eat that at 11 to 12 at night, you wake up the next morning around 5:30, what time I get up,
but there's no scale. There's no scale involved here. Your sluggish is like a daggum 3-year-old hopped up on Mountain Dew, man.
But it's still sluggish. So anyway, back to my bearded barbell guys, because I'm trying to ask them a serious question. Am I right in saying is it okay to eat like maybe 1 or 2 junk things after burning a lot of calories like that?
So before we actually get into that, I've been seeing the comments and I've been seeing what Freddie's been tossing up in the comments, and he's making nothing but great points talking about additives and carcinogens and all that stuff with traditional meat. So I just want to make sure he knows he's like right on point with everything he's saying. So awesome points to throw in. On the point of the donut, Coach Willie here loves cookies. Me, part of my breakfast 5 days out of the week is a bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch and 2 Pop-Tarts, because I'm like you. Like I might get, I don't know if Gales can put just me in the back room and just kick me off the screen and keep Coach Willie.
He can't.
I'm about to say about the same thing you said a few minutes ago, but I can, between all the workouts I do, all the wrestling, the motorcycle riding, I'm burning so many calories that it's hard for me to keep up if I'm trying to gain weight, which I'm trying to do right now. And so, like that's why I'm doing things like the Cinnamon Toast Crunch and the Pop-Tarts, because if I didn't get those extra calories in, I wouldn't be able continue putting on, slowly putting on weight like I'm trying to. And you're also right on your other point where if I ate those things, especially the Pop-Tarts, because they're real high calories and it's real condensed, right?
Right.
So and I know this from just past experimenting on myself. If I ate those Pop-Tarts and I didn't have an active day and I didn't do anything the day before, it's gonna drag me down. And people will say to me the same thing that Gail just said to Mr. Dean about how, your level of sluggishness is still, bounds ahead of most people. But we still feel that sluggishness, right?
Yeah, like look.
We know what our normal is, and we know that we're now below it.
Just because we're in shape don't mean we don't get sluggish, Gales.
I'm not talking about them and most people. I'm talking about the phenomenon that is Sidney Dean. This dude, don't let him fool you, man. This is the most energetic. I don't know if we got some anime fans out there when they call it the hyper ninja, energetic ninja, something like that. When they talk about Naruto, that's that dude. It don't matter. It doesn't matter.
But I've been like it since I was a kid. Like,
Hyperactive energy.
I always be like it. I'm always like, even if I don't win, I want to win. So that's where that energy level come from. Okay, so that's just whatever Gail's talking about. I still get tired. Okay, plus I'm 37 now. I'm not 17 anymore. All right?
But you both.
So to add to,
go ahead. You go ahead.
Yeah, to add to that point, I've actually like now with my coaching, and if I'm in the gym and I haven't got to a meal and I'm kind of feeling a little like, I'm feeling the stomach grumbling and stuff, I'm going to do some squats, some heavy work. I have a bag of Sour Patch Kids on me all the time. Like I just go to that straight, like people laugh at me. I'll be walking around the gym, just munching away. I call it my magic lifting energy, whatever it does for me. It's great. I coach some kids, some 17-year-olds. Actually, they're ranging from 15 to 17. And I'm nag these kids about eating their carbs. I tell them, tell your mom to get you some Little Debbie snacks, Pop-Tarts. I told him Pop-Tarts. I have this kid that does motocross. He said he goes out riding for 2 to 4 hours. And he says by the time he'll go hit his bed and be done. And I said, stop in the middle of that, eat a banana, eat some Pop-Tarts, eat whatever you want, really. This kid is 135, and I'm like, eat. I don't care what it is at this point. You're training. He's lifting with me. He's going and riding all the time. I got some football players they're doing in the morning. They're doing football. One goes and does his baseball. He has baseball games in the evening. Mm-hmm. I'm on that boy about eating constantly. That's just the number one thing. I did figure macros for him, but like it's a bare minimum. It's like a baseline. I want them shooting above it, like just because of the energy level. I don't want these boys getting injured. I don't want them getting tired and sluggish on the field on a bike going insane amounts. He's showing me some of his jumps. If he's fatigued at all, then I mean,
that's a bad day.
Yeah, exactly. So. I'd rather him have the Pop-Tarts get on, because at the end of the day, it's what are you training for? If the 5 pounds, cool. If you want to lose 5 pounds, that's all good. But I mean, if you're really looking to train to the extreme, train more, everything aside, like looking nutrition only, I go with simple carbs, while you're training.
Right. It's funny you said it about the Sour Patch Kids, because my cousin, he's a professional bodybuilder, personal trainer, and I've seen him in his go-to has always been sweet tarts since we were kids. So I've seen him in dead. He like you carry around a bag, a big old, you can go get the sweet tarts, and he'll take a handful and still get in there and kill it. Like right now, he low on energy because he 1 week out from his show. He actually
he's got no energy now. Then
no, he got no energy. I just talked to him on the phone on the way flying from practice to get here. I was talking to him, and he was in there working out, but he was low energy because he leave out next Wednesday to go to Chicago for his show. So he low on carbs right now because he got to shred up, he got to cut it all up, dry out for the show. But what he always tell me, as soon as the show, with what people don't see behind the scene, they got like cupcakes, sugar cookies, every type of junk you want behind stage, and they just load up on this stuff because they don't have nothing in them, when you get ready for them shows. So when you said that about Sour Patch Kid, I almost started laughing because he really do that. Like he'll take them sweet talks and be throwing it back, but right now he can't do none of
that. Yeah,
so what are y'all saying? I got a question about what do you say to people who are watching the Gatorade commercials and you got to take the before and then take the during and then take the after. Like, what are you saying to people who are looking at that and thinking, oh, okay, let's go out and get these products when you guys, as swole as the three of you are looking, right? All kinds of muscle-licious around here. Like, I'm trying to figure out if y'all are saying cupcakes and Skittles, like, how do you combat that mentality that we are fed from the media about, hey, don't buy that, buy our product, but everything else is bad.
Well, so again, you got to go back to that grand scheme picture, right? So you have to look at it's not a question of whether Gatorade's good or bad or whether cupcakes are good or bad or anything like that. It's like Coach Willie said, the foundation of any choice that we make needs to be awareness. Once we're aware of what we're doing and why we're doing it, by all means, like, continue to do it. Like, we don't try to dissuade anybody from any decision, from any choice that they want to make. We just want to make sure that you're educated about what you're going to do and the possible effects that it could have. Now, once you know that, if you, for example, if we just put in some variables, if you decide that you're going to have a Gatorade, you typically, if your workout's not really much longer than an hour, if it's not over an hour, you really don't need a Gatorade at the end of the day. Like, by the time it gets metabolized and gets in your bloodstream, you're going to be leaving the gym. So, you could get into that situation where it's helping you recover, which is awesome, but it's not really going to do anything for you in that workout. So, for somebody that says, like, hey, I want to have a Gatorade when I'm walking in the gym, that's the conversation I would have. I would say, okay, cool. Like, this is how the Gatorade can work in your body. With that in mind, if you still want to have that Gatorade, like, by all means, like, let's go get a Gatorade. Like, I'm with you. I'm like, what color do you want? Like, we got to have that conversation. Because if you give me the wrong color, we can't work together anymore. That's really more what I'm concerned with. But yeah, we're not about the whole, there's that, like, eat this, not that culture. You walk through, like, a bookstore, they have, like, don't go to Wendy's, go to Panera. And I'm like, I don't know why you want to go to Panera and just get, like, overpriced cafeteria food. But again,
overpriced bland cafeteria food. I'm sorry.
I'm saying, but, like, if that's what you want to do, like, go for it. But
I ain't gonna lie, I had Wendy's yesterday and it was good as hell. I ain't gonna lie.
I'm a Wendy's guy, man.
I ain't gonna lie. It was good. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
The fries was hot for the first time in a long time,
Well, you got McDonald's and Wendy's right here.
Yeah.
And then everything for me, because I watch Friends, and there's an episode where Joey sits down. It's a scenario where he's, like, with Monica, who's a chef, and he's like, what's for dinner, honey? He's like, oh, your favorite things. He goes, fried stuff with cheese. Like, that's basically me. If it can go in grease, I can eat it. Like, that's my diet plan.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and really, even with that, like, there's not, I wouldn't say that there's anything necessarily wrong with that. It comes down to more of a question of, like, okay, well, how often are you doing that? How often are you having fried stuff covered in cheese? Like, once, there's a point where that can become an issue if you're having it way too much, too often, right? And it's usually because that's taking the place of something else that should be in the diet. And for most Americans, that's protein. When, we have a lot of processed foods, we have a lot of baked foods, a lot of fried foods, a lot of time we are not having protein with that, or we're not having protein before or after. And when we are skipping protein, and of course this isn't happening consciously. Nobody's out there waking up and writing their to-do list and, like, today on my to-do list, I'm going to skip protein. Like, that doesn't happen, right? We just think that deep fried Twinkie sounds amazing. I'm going to have a couple of those. And so, we have that. We don't think about protein. It's not something that's talked about a lot. When really, for most people, that single thing is like the magic unlock key. Like, if we just put a little bit of focus on getting protein in our meals throughout the day, almost everything else would just kind of fall in place. When you have more protein in your diet, you feel fuller longer. So that kills your cravings, right? So that helps with your snacking. When you have protein, especially before bed, it helps keep you full all night long. You don't wake up wanting a midnight snack, so you get rid of that right off the bat. If you wake up and you have protein with breakfast, you can still have your bagel, you can still have your coffee, But if you add in a cup of Greek yogurt, now you've got a good amount of protein that carries you to lunch. So now you're not reaching for another bagel or another, Starbucks drink at 10 o'clock before you go out to lunch.
And I think like going to that, it's hard to sell. Like, people need protein. In the sense that I like going back to like the pre-Gatorade. I think I saw like a product that Gatorade sold, and it was like this gummy that you ate like before or during a workout. And I was like, why?
I got a bone to pick with Gatorade right now, actually. You know what I saw last week at wrestling practice?
He never gets like this, so I'm gonna step back.
Energy, baby.
Yeah, he never jumps up on a soapbox. It's usually me, so I'll let him have this.
The crap out of me. So everybody knows about Gatorade, right? Everybody knows why Gatorade is out there. Everybody knows how it's marketed. It's an electrolyte drink. It's supposed to help with sports performance. All of that, right? So explain to me how I'm at wrestling practice last week and I see somebody walk in and they have a bottle of a Gatorade plus electrolyte drink. Like it's a drink from Gatorade and it's marketed as now having electrolytes. And I'm like, hold on a second.
It's called like Gatorade Light or something like it.
Yeah, something like that. And I'm like, hold on. Like Light, your whole marketing is that you have electrolytes. Now you have an electrolyte drink?
Yeah, that's like oxygen infused water.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that, man.
That's my bone to pick with Gatorade right now.
Well, and it all goes back to that marketing. Like I was getting to the gummies that they have. I was reading that. I was like, they're marketing these as like some sports thing, and it really like I'd rather have Sour Patch Kids than that. And I was explaining to a kid, I think I'm the only one in this whole room that watched Wimbledon yesterday. But I was telling one of my kids,
come on, man, get out of here.
And I was watching. There was this one guy, and what was that?
Oh. Say, come on, man, Jokic. Look, had one little slip up and like the betting numbers went through the roof, so everybody jumped on, and of course he pulled it out in the end. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
I see you keeping up with your homework there, buddy.
But yeah, so but back to what he was saying about the electrolytes. They preach this whole electrolytes, and through that one of those matches, I'm not familiar with tennis, but I believe it was long. It was about 3 hours, 4 hours. Those matches are long enough for a good nap. And sorry if anyone likes tennis. I want to play tennis, but watching was pretty rough yesterday. But no, I noticed through it, like these guys, they went and they ate during the match. They're out there in the sun. They're out there. They're drinking plenty of water. They're toweling off. And one guy kept going. He kept bringing out bananas. And I see a lot of Olympists do this, especially like beach volleyball on the beach. They do this. So it goes back to the whole marketing thing. Like they're telling us they're putting electrolytes in something that already has electrolytes. And the other day when I explained to people what electrolytes,
that's like diet water I've seen online.
Yeah, like okay, so put salt in water. Yeah, like it really is just a marketing scheme. And when you make that conscious, because if you let them get to your head, but if you let them get to you, I think with the marketing they'll make you hate carbs. They'll make you drink more electrolytes in an electrolyte already drink.
Yeah.
And it really is just taking that conscious, like, do I want to have Gatorade, or is it just going to be this sugary drink that I didn't need?
Yeah, I think if we listen to everything that the media has said about what we should not eat, the only things we would have left are kale and ice cubes.
Right.
I think that's it.
Attack on kale, though.
That's it.
I got a question.
Can you have too much?
I got a question for both you guys. Before we end the show, being a football coach, I got a few of my players. Even at the little age I got the 8U. I got about 8 players that wrestle, and pretty daggum good. And these little dudes, like 2 of them are twins, and I mean they like ranked in the state, like pretty good. But what I want to know, which I know, but to the audience who don't know, could you explain the benefit of wrestling, how it translates over to football, or just sports in general,
or wrestling in general? Dadgummit.
Or wrestling in general.
Wait, no. Wait. Okay,
like the benefits of wrestling, just the benefits of wrestling, not WWE, WCW. That's entertainment of the real wrestling, and which I respect wrestling guys because I went at it with one, and he put me in some shit that I ain't.
You almost made it the whole show. I
almost did, man.
You
but
almost
that
made
hurt.
it the whole show without being fine. My goodness.
Man.
And before we get into the rest of the talk, I want to go back to the bananas, and the professionals are eating actual food, and they do Gatorade when it's time to face the title towards the camera there. But my question is, like, because I know Tony, Coach Davis over here, right, is a wrestler. So what do you eat in order to get ready for your matches?
Or your meal prep.
So yeah, I'm a huge meal prep if you ask the right person. I'm really not that big into meal prep, but
no.
I do
It doesn't matter what you eat, son. Come on, man.
Oh, you got the guess.
You got the guess. I just got that.
Wow. Off the show.
That was an old school one.
You're not supposed to put the guest off the show. You put me off the show before the guest.
That's how you know we like
I'm gonna give him that one. That was a real good one, though.
That was a good one.
No, but seriously, go ahead. Answer Dean's question, and then we'll shout you guys out before we get you out of here.
So, for what I eat, it's I mentioned part of my breakfast. I've got the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I've got the Pop-Tarts. Aside from that, because I also talk about adding protein. So not the Rock. So I also go half a dozen scrambled eggs every day, and a cup of Greek yogurt with all of that. So that's all breakfast. For lunch, I'm usually doing either steak or chicken with a good chunk of rice. For dinner, it usually depends on what's going on that evening. So I have my pro wrestling training twice a week. So on those evenings, it's more rice with more meat, just because it's a lot easier for my body to break down. It doesn't leave me feeling sluggish. I can just eat it right after, and I'm solid. I'm good to go. If it's not one of those days, it kind of depends on what me and the girlfriend want. Sometimes we go to Chipotle. Sometimes we go to Chili's. Sometimes we just go to we go to Blake's. We get some burgers. It's kind of wherever. I'm generally more focused on overall the overall macros and the overall calories and protein. And since I'm usually good on most of the points with my breakfast is usually consistent, my lunch is usually consistent, because that's so consistent and it's so dialed in. It's easier for me to venture off any sort of plan when it comes time for dinners. If we're going out with people, if we're just kind of trying a new restaurant, I'm usually going to be in good shape regardless. So the name of the game for me for being prepared for wrestling is just keeping those carbs up, because I need that energy. On those wrestling days, I go to the gym and I lift weights maybe a couple hours before wrestling, and then I have a little snack, and then I go wrestling. So, like Coach Willie was saying before, I don't want to get, halfway through training and then run out of gas. So I'm high on the carbs to keep that energy going for me so that I can get through everything I have that day.
All right, I got 2 questions before we get out of here. The benefits of wrestling.
Wait, hang on. Can I get y'all to just do a little overtime? So we have not talked about, we're cutting movies, we're cutting old school versus new school wrestling.
What do you think? You got time?
I got time.
What about
overtime elite it is, baby. Let's go.
All right. So ask your 2 questions.
OT.
How about this? Ask your 2 questions, and then we'll get them out of here. And then you guys are just gonna have to come back.
I'm good with that too.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm gonna need a workout plan from you guys. A new one. I like trying new stuff all the time. So
we got you.
Send it to Yales, and he sent it to me. I like trying other people's workouts, because it's just you get bored doing the same old thing. So I switch mine up every 3 weeks. I'm doing something different every 3 weeks.
Cool.
But my first question is the benefits of wrestling. What is the benefits of it? Because I respect wrestlers. I like my little players that do it. It's fun to watch them, but the benefits of real wrestling, not the entertainment world, real wrestling.
So this is kind of where I jump up on my soapbox. In youth sports in general, if any youth sports, I preach any kind of youth extracurricular. It teaches a kid to get coached. It keeps a kid on a plan. All these kids that I coach in the weight room outside their sports, these kids, I wish I could get adults doing what these kids do. They have better schedules than these adults. They're on it. They know nutrition. They know exactly what nutrition means to them. What the workouts mean to them. They're not complaining. I think that's just a benefit of youth sports in general. So any kind of youth sports, I'm going to push. As far as wrestling, Me, I wish I had the conditioning of a wrestler. I think that, just the mindset that they have to get into. I think football, from what I hear from football and wrestling, is a lot of conditioning. It really just, I think every sport just comes down to who has more conditioning. You can train strength all day. You can have the biggest guy on the field. If he's unconditioned, he's not gonna be worth anything to you. So I think, yeah, exactly. So, and I think the way they transition to each other, it really gets a kid in the mindset of really understanding how important it is to get in shape and stay in shape. Because if they ever get out of shape and want to get back into it, that's where a lot of people fall off. Is you get there and then you fall off, and you really know how hard it is to get back into the extreme shape you were. So I think transitioning through seasonal sports really, really keeps the kid in focus. It's the great old saying, it's easier to stay in shape than to get into shape. So I think is any kind of sport needs to. I found out in baseball. See, now I heard that's kind of not more of a knowledge around here, but I was training this kid in baseball, and that's a sport I like, and in baseball, what I learned is, as opposed to like football and other sports, they train a lot of lateral and core workouts, and not necessarily just lateral drills, but like really just lateral leg raising and building that hip and twisting maneuvering. So I think benefits in every sport, and just keeping a kid active is beneficial, and it teaches them structure that they can just adapt to as an adult. And I think that they already have that advantage over adults that turn 18 and never played a sport in their life. They'll go to a gym, they'll be adapted to a gym, they'll go to the real world, they'll work a hard job, they'll be used to someone saying, hey, nope, you didn't do that right, you need to do it better next time, I need you to come faster, I need you to come and do better. And I think all those things apply to real life. And that's my soapbox.
Yeah. And I think one final thing, first off, everything you said was fantastic. Those are all amazing, especially when you talk about seasonal sports to keep the body moving differently throughout the year. Fantastic. I think one thing that sets wrestling apart, and I would say gymnastics too, is it teaches those athletes body control. And that's not necessarily something that you get with baseball. You get control over basically like that sort of range of movements that you do as a baseball player. When you're a wrestler, when you're a gymnast, you have to be able to control your body at all sorts of different angles, and you need power, you need strength, you need endurance at any angle, flexibility anywhere. And that's something that can transfer well over to football. And I think wrestling, especially more so than gymnastics, because you're also trying to control a second body. I mean, that's a huge part of football right there is, you're catching somebody and then you're trying to bring them down. You're trying to control where they go.
Key word you said in there, which I see a lot of athletes have problems with coaching football. Shit, I had problems with it playing. Gales will tell you. And I was a fast athlete. I see you put the pay the man down there too. I said it again, my bad. The number one thing, I see some kids that are extremely fast and athletic, but could be extremely more fast and athletic if they were flexible. They're not flexible at all. And that's why we try to preach to them the importance of stretching. Like now, like even when I was back home in Tennessee, I had started trying to do like a little bit of yoga. And I'm telling you, I couldn't even get it was bad. It was bad. Like I've just always been like that, not very flexible, but my athleticism overtook that to a certain extent. Because when you go against a player that's more flexible, that can bend, that can turn without hurting and stuff, then you can
get better leverage on you.
Up. So the flexibility is an important thing to athletes of any kind, and we try to preach that out here to our younger players. Now we even got them stretching and doing all this stuff. That if you are more flexible, it'll benefit you more in whatever athletics that you're doing.
Man,
can I plug something?
Jokic. Oh yeah, for sure. But I gotta address this. This is coming straight from a guy. You talk about Jokic eating a banana. This man on the sideline drinking pickle juice and whatever crazy concoction the coaches had.
Yeah, I
was
cramp
back in the game, man. He
Cramps.
High salt content. Yep.
I used to cramp bad. I used to drink pickle juice. Like So Gales and all them, they Gatorade ballers, you see clear water coming out. My Gatorade bottle, you seen green coming out. I had straight pickle juice. I had to, or salt tablets. It was something I had to take because when in doubt, somewhere in that game, Dean was gonna cramp up every game, even in the wintertime. My body would just cramp up. So I had to do what I do to get back on the field.
When I was doing professional wrestling training, when I was doing professional wrestling training, I was getting pretty bad cramps, and I had to resort to pickle juice because that was the only thing. I was trying to eat a bunch of salty foods, trying to drink a bunch of water before. Pickle juice was a saving grace thing because I mean, you get a bad cramp, it feels like your world's over for a second. Yeah. Right. But the plug back to the yoga, that's another thing that got kind of a marketing bad thing. Like you hear yoga and you think namaste, you think, you have to be at peace, meditation, light some candles. I don't know what comes to mind, but when I first started losing a lot of weight at 285, all I did was a thing called DDPY yoga. I don't know if you guys remember the old wrestler from the 90s, Diamond Dallas Page. He has his own yoga, yeah. Diamond Dallas Page yoga. That he's rehabilitated athletes, he's rehabilitated veterans, older people, myself. I mean, just this program itself, and it really is just standing there and using your heart rate, using dynamic resistance, using a bunch of yoga poses, a bunch of physical therapy poses. It's really, really good stuff, and it goes back to the point of flexibility and mobility. As soon as I started working out with that, I went back to the weight room, and I was able to really move further because I was actually recovered. It helps you develop
trained in a bigger range of motion.
Yeah, all my small ligaments were working with my bigger muscles. My tendons were working with all the tissue it needed to, all the small tissue, because I sat there in a tense or in a certain pose. So they are beneficial. I know a lot of people they used to talk about football players and hockey players doing ballet for their there you go, DDPY. But yeah, they used to, so like integrating stuff like getting rid of stigmas and like integrating stuff like that into your programs. I mean, anything, I always tell the kids, anything you're doing more than someone else, that's just going to make you better as long as you're being safe and you plan it out accordingly. But yeah, that's the DDPY program, and that's good stuff. It really helps, especially if you have back problems. Yoga really helps with some back problems.
And my last question to ask you guys, this is I guess kind of funny question.
Oh, come on.
What? Oh, hold on. How do Thor become Thor?
Bologna sandwich.
Yeah. The actor that go, man. How did he get so shredded? Talk to us.
How did the actor get so shredded? I actually look into that, and anytime,
that's a big dude.
Anytime there's like a new Thor movie, I looked into it a lot when Christian Bale was Batman, because you see how the way he looked when he was Batman. And the other one I looked into was Chris Evans, because he was Captain America. And the one thing really a lot of them had in common is they did a lot of heavy strength training. They didn't really do a whole lot of endurance work for those roles, but they did more. They did a lot of heavy strength training. There's a lot of low rep work. It was, like reps of, or sets of, somewhere around like 5 to 8 for the most part of their training. Diet wise, it's on paper, it was pretty simple. It was just a lot of simple carbs. It was a lot of things like rice. It was a lot of meat. I'm sure they all had protein shakes in their mix as well. So, it's a lot of the stuff you would commonly see in most fitness magazines when it comes to, getting in ridiculous shape and all of that.
It reminds me of on that episode when you talked about Mac and his response. From, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the actor.
Yeah, I'm going to hop on that soapbox. Are you guys fans of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Never got past
the
third season, and I've forgotten so much of it, and it's gotten so I just popped in just to see, like, oh man, I remember loving this show. I was like, no, I gotta go back. There's too many like references and like, so I'm gonna start it over from the beginning.
So he's getting a reference right now, and we love this reference because it kind of goes, it answers your question perfectly about how Thor or not Chris Evans, Hemsworth became Thor.
Yeah, so I found it. So basically, let me lay some groundwork since you guys haven't seen the show, you haven't seen this part. So there's one part of the series where one of the characters just gains 50 pounds, and then he just loses 50 pounds really fast. And the idea was to kind of like sideways mock how, you know, people are always in great shape in Hollywood, right? Like everybody's always in fantastic shape, and they try to say how easy it is, and they try to say how, you know, it's really not that hard and that sort of thing, right? So he got interviewed after his transformation because it was so drastic and it was so fast, and there's a quote from his interview. So I found the quote, so it won't take me long to read it, but I'd like to read it. So basically somebody asked him, you know, how he got in shape after gaining 50 pounds, because it took him, I think, 6 months, and he got shredded. Like he didn't just get lean, like abs, like veins, abs, the whole nine, right? So he goes, look, it's not that hard. All you need to do is lift weights 6 days a week, stop drinking alcohol, don't eat anything after 7 p.m., don't eat any carbs or sugar at all. In fact, just don't eat anything you like. Get the personal trainer from Magic Mike, sleep 9 hours a night, run 3 miles a day, and have a studio pay for the whole thing over a 6 to 7 month span. I don't know why everyone's not doing this. It's a super realistic lifestyle and an appropriate body image to compare oneself to.
Bravo. Bravo. Like, right.
It's coming from a
right.
rich guy. He can do that.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, he has the means to look the way he wants to look, right?
Yeah, he got all the means.
I mean,
Oh,
that's another, you know, that's another hot topic for me, is everybody talks about wanting to, you know, everybody talks about wanting to look super shredded and wanting to look like bodybuilders. And it's like, I don't know if you really want to look like a bodybuilder because of, one, just the sheer amount of work that it takes to look like a bodybuilder, and two, just, you know, the way you feel when you're getting ready to get on stage. Like that's always the comparison, right? They want to look like a stage ready bodybuilder. The problem is most stage ready bodybuilders are pretty miserable by the time they get on the stage. And, you know, like you said a bit ago, Dean, the instant they get off stage, what's waiting for them backstage? Like all the food that they haven't been able to have for, you know, 16 weeks or 24 weeks, however long they've been prepping for the show. And that's the side that we, as a fitness industry, we don't talk about. We don't talk about, cool, you want to look like a bodybuilder, like this is what it takes. And by the way, this is what happens with those bodybuilders when they're done with their show, before they decide that it's time to get ready for another show, and then they just repeat that cycle. Like there's that cycle of, you know, they're dialing in, they're doing everything right, they're counting every grain of rice, every gram, every ounce of water, salt is all tracked, like very, very, very tightly regulated to optimize their body for when they get on stage. And the best way to do that is to cut out pretty much any food that you can't buy, cook, and measure yourself. So you're not going to restaurants, you're not going to family barbecues, you're not going to birthday parties, you're doing none of that. You're not even eating frozen pizza. You're not doing any of that. And we, you know, so they do all that work for 16 weeks, for, again, you know, however many months it takes. And then they get off stage, and the first thing that most of them want to do is they go back to all the stuff that they couldn't have while they were prepping, which makes perfect sense, right? They were deprived for so long, they want those foods that they couldn't have. Well, the problem is that's just not a sustainable approach to health. And you can even look at it in the bodybuilders. They don't maintain that year round. You know, this is I'm gonna hit a topic for both of us. This is what I don't like about CrossFit. You look at CrossFit gyms and they have their
Hey.
I'm gonna bring it around. But you know, we have these CrossFit gyms and they have these workouts, and you know, they're all these WODs, the workouts of the day, where they're super tough, they're drilling you into the ground, and they're beating you so that you can't move right for the next 4 or 5 days, right? And it seems good, it seems fine. We've learned that feeling sore is an indicator of a good workout, which it's not. It's actually probably an indicator of a terrible workout. But the fact is, like, we have people that are out here trying to do CrossFit workouts all year round, when you go look at the top CrossFit athletes in the world and they don't do CrossFit year round. So why are we trying to do something that the athletes we're trying to model don't even do themselves? Like, they only do CrossFit specific work when they're getting ready for the games in those couple of months beforehand. And that's just, to Coach Willie's point, to get conditioning in place so that they can make it through the competition, right? When they're out of the games, you know, just like when bodybuilders are out or off that stage, they're not focusing as much on, you know, building muscle. They're not focusing on keeping their body in shape. They're doing other stuff so their body can recover, so that when the games come back around, when that bodybuilding show comes back around, they can then shift gears, do what's necessary to perform well and to win their chosen sport. And, you know, we've learned all these things from the wrong places. And that's what, you know, the media has told us. They've told us that, like, we have to look, you know, we have to have skinny waist. We have to have single digit body fat if we're guys. We have to, you know, be, you know, size 00 if you're a woman. And you have to, you know, there's a maximum weight that you can be, and all this terrible, terrible things that they've told us. And it's based off of, you know, bodybuilders that and fitness models that don't look like that all year round. They just diet down really hard. They have a photo shoot where they take hundreds of pictures so they can put those out through the year without worrying about how they look. And then when it's time for new pictures, they slim down again. They take their next round of pictures, repeat forever, right? And we talk about how we learned that, you know, no pain, no gain. And we learned that if your workout doesn't hurt you, it's not a good workout, which is completely untrue. And it's probably one of the most damaging things in exercise. You know, more often than not, if you're sore 2, 3, 4 days after your workout, you went too hard. Like, that workout was too hard for you, and your body's not going to become stronger from that workout because it's too busy trying to recover, and it's too busy trying to repair. And when the body's repairing, it's not adapting and it's not getting stronger, because those can't happen at the same time. So, you know, sweat is another one. We think that we have to sweat profusely. We have to, like, drench the floor. We have to be able to wring our shirts out because there's so much sweat in it, because we think that's a sign of a good workout. Well, it was almost 100 degrees today. Like, if we just go walk around the park a couple times, you're going to be covered in sweat too. Does that mean that that walk was also as effective as your CrossFit workout or your group fitness class or anything like that? And it's not to say that sweating is bad, right? It's to say that maybe that's not what we should be looking at when we're trying to gauge how effective our workout is.
So it's not a good marker. I feel like y'all, I think I got from your show, correct me if I'm wrong, the Ronnie Coleman said he spends like 45 minutes at the gym.
Yeah.
And, you know, getting those workouts in. And sometimes you can, if you are able to set your workouts up well enough, that maybe 30 to 45 minutes is all you need, right? And doing some compound lifting. So before, we'll make that the last question. You know what? Hold on, Dean. I want to dust something off here. It's been a while. Just hang on. Challenge of the week.
Oh, shit. Ain't no telling what he got. Oh, challenge of the week.
Well, before we do that, we're going to go ahead and hit you with another fine. I can still hear you. That's right. So, look, challenge of the week, a.k.a. Cal. The T is silent.
He's ready.
Yeah. So, what challenge can you give Dean and I for this week, right? Or any of our listeners? One thing, because a lot of times this is how it works, right? We think about, I need to do this, I need to do that, but I don't have time. But you're still coming up with a litany of things that you need to add in order to make yourself whatever you want to make it. What is one thing that we can stop doing that will help us tomorrow? And that'll be the final question. Then we'll do the plugs. Go.
What is one thing that stop doing?
Like a challenge?
Yeah, like a challenge that challenge us to one thing that we have to stop doing for the week that will give us some results.
You got one? I got one. I'm ready to go.
All right, if you got one, I got a couple.
We're going to give you two challenges because there's two of us. I got one. He's going to come up with one. So
yeah, I like it.
My challenge is, if we're not matching, my challenge is to stop trying to cripple yourself in the gym. Just that simple. You know, stop. You know, there's a point where in a workout where you've done good. Everybody knows this feeling. It's that feeling where you feel super energized and you feel like your blood's pumping. Maybe you have a pump in your muscles. You feel like you're ready to take on the world, right? Everybody knows that feeling in the workout. Pretty much you should be stopping right then, maybe a little bit after. The problem that we run into is we have this belief that we've been taught that we should not be able to walk out of the gym, especially on a leg day, right? We have to be crawling out of the gym and we have to be covered in sweat. And when we push that far, we are cutting our results off at the legs. We're making it so our bodies, like I said, your bodies are now concerned with repairing itself, and it's not concerned with making anything stronger because it's just freaked out. It's trying to get back to a healthy baseline, regardless of whatever you're trying to accomplish. The body doesn't care what you want at that point. It just wants to get better. So that's the soreness for 3, 4, 5 days, maybe longer, depending on how hard you went. But if instead of chasing that total exhaustion feeling, instead of making yourself crippled and drenched in sweat, realize that the soreness is not a good marker of a workout. It's probably a marker of a bad workout, actually. And knowing that the sweat or lack thereof is also not a good marker of a good workout. You can have great workouts without sweating. My challenge would be to stop yourself when you're in that energized point of your workout. You can maybe do 1 or 2 extra sets after that just to really kind of seal it home for your body. But when you're at that peak, when you feel like you're maybe about to start dipping on your energy, cut it right there.
Ooh, that's good. They said the same thing about reading, right? Or learning a new language. You get right up there as far as you're gonna go, then you stop, you let yourself recover, and you're gonna lose a little bit, but then now you're jumping from a higher platform.
Right.
Oh, pretty good. That's tough, man. Coach Willie,
that's a tough one.
That is. So he got the physical challenge. I'm gonna go with the more mental towards the nutrition challenge. I already know a lot of people out there. I already know a lot of people out there ain't getting enough water, and they need to get enough protein. We need proof. We need proof of enough water and enough protein. I mean, whenever you go, say you go to McDonald's, you get a McDouble. I looked that up. I think in a McDouble, you only have 14 to 25 grams of protein in that one, as opposed to the amount of fat and carbs in there. Yeah. I think really just check in with your protein intake, check in with your water intake, and maybe if you're not active, maybe if you haven't started working out and you can't take on this challenge, there you go. He just gave you a physical challenge. So my challenge: more water, protein. If you're not physical, get more physical.
Yeah. If you don't have a gym membership, go for a walk a day, at least 10 minutes.
Do a little bit more than what you were going to do yesterday without making yourself exhausted.
Yep.
Man, y'all got me hyped up. I'm ready to go back to the damn gym.
Let's go.
Hey, and I went this morning, Dean. Frap you, bro.
You did?
I went this morning.
Oh,
yeah. Miracles do happen. Yeah, but hey, we were hyped up because when we usually do this segment, he does more of the physical challenge, and I do more of the mental challenges. So we're just like peas and carrots over here.
That's why I got hyped up when you said when he did the physical. When he did the physical and you said the mental, I got so hyped up off that because that's what me and Gales do. So they got me pretty hyped.
Yeah, we were like,
y'all didn't even know that. It just happened like this.
Yeah. Right. So appreciate you guys for coming on and working overtime. We appreciate you. Still got to come back. There's still plenty of things, right?
And we got to talk wrestling. We got to talk all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Will Coach Tony Davis get Gales back for that rock slam earlier, man?
That was coming.
My goodness, that was wrong. Just wrong.
I walked right into that too. I'm kind of disappointed in myself.
Right. Well, tell the people where they can find you, man. There is the title of their podcast. Where can they find you on Instagram?
So on Instagram, there you can find us at Bearded Barbell Podcast. You can find us there on Facebook as well. The podcast is available on all the podcast outlets. So on your Spotify's, your Apples, your Googles, Amazons, wherever you're looking, it's going to be there. You can find Coach Willie and myself both on Instagram. He is at Coach Willie Otero. You can find me at Tony Davis Coaching. You can see it there at the bottom. And you can find us both on Facebook as well, just under our names. And if you are, we always say this on the podcast too. If you're out there and you're starting a new journey and you feel like you don't have any support, you can't find anybody at home, anybody at work, everybody's trying to make fun of you for trying to change yourself for the better. They're making fun of you and they're trying to sabotage you because you are trying to improve your health, and they're coming around with donuts and they're giving you reasons to try to fall off and all that sort of stuff. If you need people in your corner, now you got two right here.
Yep, we got this Bearded Barbell tag team right in your corner for support, guys. Use us and abuse us, man. We're here for you. I'm on my personal Facebook page, guys. Support. Hit us up on it. Don't be stingy. Share us. Share our show. We have a new episode every Monday. Every Monday. No rain, shine, everything.
16 episodes in as of today.
Yeah.
So plenty of stuff there to get you started. So jump in. If you like us, give us a good review. Give us a share to the people that you think would find benefit in the things we're talking about.
Absolutely,
cool,
man.
I'm gonna be messaging one of y'all for this new workout, man. I'm ready for a new one. I'm always up for the challenge.
We got you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, thank y'all so much. Hang out in the back room. We'll be right with you as we wrap up here. That gum bearded.
I know, man. Now I'm mad I ain't got my beard.
No, we gotta talk them into getting those beautiful beards on camera permanently.
It's coming back, man.
I don't know when, where, but we have to. We have to. So, Mr. Dean, we are back, man. I was gone for over a month. It felt great. You know, I got pulled back to do some stuff, but whatever.
I know, man. Look, I want to say I almost missed your black ass, but
you did so good. You were doing so good.
I ain't gonna lie, man.
I gotta bring the guys back on in order to get you to behave like pay the man.
No. You're right. I'm sorry. Yeah, audience, I'm sorry. I missed my brother, man. I missed him. We had some great guests to fill in. I'm not taking nothing away from them. Thank you for all the guys who did fill in. The episode with me and Mr. Untamed Fitness didn't happen, but it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen
from Chicago. I talked to him today about it. So not next week, but the week after, we'll run a Let's Talk with Gail Dean on Monday, and me and him are gonna do our segment on that Wednesday. So he'd have been had his competition, so he'd be able to talk about the competition. And when you get me and him together, ain't no telling what's gonna happen. So that's coming. But all the guys who filled in for Mr. Gales while he was gone, I appreciate it. I know he appreciated it. You was missed though, brother. I missed you. I ain't even talked to you that much till today. I was worried about you.
I know, man. Look, new job, new responsibilities, all that stuff. Man. Right when our vacation hit. But yeah, shouts out to the day trader, Mr. Craig Juday.
Yes, sir.
He's got some nuptials coming up here pretty soon, man. We're gonna eat good down there in that Tennessee area.
Yeah, no, man.
Right. And then shouts out to
tuxedo season coming up, baby.
Oh my goodness. Hey, shouts out to Tanner Talk.
Yep.
Talks Brian Tanner. We still gonna keep bugging that dude till he gets that show off the ground. And I guess before you do your final word, man, listen, what kind of running, since we've been talking about exercising and all that stuff, what kind of running leads to walking?
What kind of running leads to walking? Jogging. Yeah.
Running out of gas.
That's a dad joke. Hey, he hit me with a dad joke, man. But hey, look, the crew is back, man. I got my compadre back, Mr. Gales, man. So, long time coming. He took a long month off, but we had guys fill in and they helped out, but he was missed. So I don't think he know how much he means to the show. He's not gonna take that credit, but he means a lot to the show. Without Gales, there ain't no me. We're a team, and that's what make this show go. Hey, we halfway through the year, guys. For our audience who done stuck with us halfway through the year, man, we really appreciate it. We love you. Keep interacting with us, man, and we got the best to come for the rest of the year, man. Shout out to the bearded guys who did the podcast today, man. Love that, man. Little words of encouragement, man, for everything that's going crazy in the world right now, man. Anything you're going through, your ups and downs, man, just keep a smile on your face. Keep moving, keep laughing. Don't try not to let nothing get you down. If something is get you down, man, let it have you down for 5 to 10 minutes and find a way to get out of it, man. Life's too short to be going through every day just mad, upset at the world, down at the world. I like laughter. It take more muscle to frown than smile. So just walk around with a smile on your face, man. Before I forget, same time next week. We got a new time. My bad. Let me read it. Same day, new time, 9 p.m. Central Time, starting next Monday. 9 p.m. Central Time starting next Monday. But it's going to be on the same night. Still the same two crazy guys, me and Mr. Gales. A lot of special guests coming up. So y'all tune in. We really appreciate y'all hanging with us from January to now. Now hang with us from now to December. Hey, you never know what's going to happen on Let's Talk with Gales Dean show. Peace and love. Holler at y'all next week. We out.